Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. And if you have a tale to tell, you can also reach me there at dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. I'm so happy to have my good friend Marineka Bowman back on. She has been on season 3, episodes 104, 131, 159, 160, 174, and 184. Season 4, episodes 22, 48, and 61. Season 5, 149, 210, 238, 248, 256, 258, 263, 271, and 275. The last time she was on, we were talking about how Marineka is paying for the court's mistakes. But today, we've got a really excellent topic that all parents have got to be aware of when they enter this deranged family court system. She's dealing with a counselor with only 3 years experience. And she's telling Marineka that she doesn't know how to bond with her daughter and that her daughter's afraid of her. However, this counselor never met her mother before and never reached out to Marineka. Also, she's canceled way too many times since April. Sessions, just canceled sessions. And then she picks up and goes to another agency and she's counseling once a month, which she never did. And we'll go over this some more. Now, the first counselor Marineka had, um, she, just talked about how the daughter has PTSD, but what really is a diagnosis? And that counselor was only a drug and alcohol counselor with no background in child psychological issues. Okay. So, really, what what is she counseling the daughter about? If not, I question coaching the daughter. So I welcome you, Marineka. I'm sorry this is going on, and it's just not stopping.
That's why we have to keep talking and talking and talking until the right ears hear it, until changes come. Because, like I said, it's very important. Like first, I was afraid to talk about my my story and a shame, but I realized there's so many people are being impacted with family court decisions that are that affect our families, and we have to speak out about it until a solution come up with a solution. I noticed on TikTok and other places, platforms, they have the father programs just specifically for fathers. I don't see a lot for moms, but I think it should be a program for parents who are alienated from their kids instead of just having it separated from mom and dad, because the same things that fathers are going through, moms are going through as well. You understand? So,
Mm-hmm.
and I follow some dads. I follow some great dads that make videos just like me. And, I follow a lot of the stories and I meet a lot of interesting people um, on TikTok. But one of the things that I want to talk about, and I know we talk about this in previous podcasts, is about court orders that is not being followed. Because I think we did one segment just on all the court orders in my case that was not followed. So I guess um, I don't know if it's just my ex-husband or it's just a thing in Delaware that people don't have to follow court orders,
Well,
especially if
that's
you're
everywhere.
like Natalie Ashkins, because a lot of the court orders my ex-husband did not follow, or he just do it in his own time, and then she make excuse to cover for him, like you told him to sign the child up for part-time daycare, you sign her up for full-time, then you don't want to talk, she didn't want to talk about it, then you go secretly behind the scene and then you change the order from part-time to full-time daycare, and all the other orders that I put contempt to court, not rule to show cause, where you have to pay money, that these court orders is not being followed.
Mm.
And you just keep slapping him on his hands, not holding no accountability, period. And I was thinking about something even before we go into this counseling, that Judge Natalie Ashkins, with all the foolishness that is being done in this case and ignore with the evidence, the abuse and all of that stuff, she should have recused herself for not only for the nonsense, but for people who she's connected with, that is connected with my ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
Sherry Darcy is a state representative that is good friends with Natalie Ashkins, Judge Natalie Ashkins, and they all go to the same church.
Like hypocrites.
So she is connected with my ex-husband right there, and then she should have recused herself. She said she's not recusing, and then also that came to my memory back this morning, an ex-supervisor of mine that I used to work with in corrections with, also friends with Judge Natalie Ashkins, and they all go to the same church. That supervisor had a problem with me because I said that she was not qualified for the position that she had because she wasn't security minded. So, but that's another story. So all these connections and all the foolishness that went on in this case that overlooked.
Right. Should never have happened.
Should have never happened. I'm not looking for nobody to have sympathy or empathy on in regards to my situation, but right is right, wrong is wrong. God bless you with a position not to step on people to meet to the top, because when you step on people to meet to the top, eventually it's going to crumble.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what impact are you making as a judge? Are you making a positive impact? Are you there to make a positive impact on families, or a negative one? And in my case, I can't say different. If you have done differently, or if I was a drug addict, an alcohol addict, or a parent who didn't care, who neglect their kid, or didn't provide for my child, or wasn't that mom, I would have said, you know what, Judge Natalie Ashkins, you're right. You have all right to do what you're doing. Take my child from me. Mm-hmm. Right? But instead you accuse me of having mental health issues and all of that stuff. And I provide all the evaluations, which you ignore. But anyway, I just want to, don't want to go too off track with that.
But I was going to say that, you were saying you didn't want anyone to have any empathy or sympathy for you, but I do, because you as a parent going through this, even I as a parent, and there's other, like I've got dads going through this that I have empathy. I've talked to them on the phone and spent time with, you and other parents. And it's like, oh, my heart goes out to all of you. I mean, my case is done and over, but it's like they drag these cases out for money. But go ahead.
Yes, it's all about money. It's all about money when it comes down to it, and who have the most money. And like I was listening to another parent on your podcast, she was talking about who have the most fancy car. They made fun of my car. Laura Brooks his attorney made fun of my car because I had a 2-door on the accent. She used to call my car that little thing. She's very disrespectful, but she's another story by herself.
Well, what kind of car does she drive?
I have no idea, and I really don't care. But I know when she went to my house, she went with a gray kind of looking Jeep. I don't remember what the model was. I don't know if that was her vehicle. But the Honda Accent that I had, it was paid for. I didn't owe anything on it.
Uh-huh.
So it was paid in full. So you making fun of a car that, that is.
Well, she's making her car payments off the blood of other parents and children.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And, this going through the court, and I would tell family, it's so hard. It's people don't understand how easy it is just to work things out for the sake of your kids, because at the end of the day, there's no winners. There's no winners. There's no winners in court cases, in these custody cases. There's no winners. Because and who lose the most is the kids. Who hurt the most is the kids. And when people are immature, they're not mature enough to talk things out and to work things out, it's just worse. And when they want to be tit for tat and just be so vindictive and vengeful and evil and name it.
Well, I think also, I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't think those parents can think for themselves. Like, there's no critical thinking, that they're letting other people influence their case. They're saying, oh, you shouldn't be paying that much in child support, or, oh yeah, you should file that motion. People should just stay out of it and let these parents work together. Now, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But I bet, for the most part, parents could, if they didn't have this back and
forth. A lot of influences. And that's true. Because a lot of times when, like in my case, like when they were options for mediation, Laura Brooks was quickly to say, "Oh, she don't want to mediate. I don't want to mediate. Let's go to trial. Let's go to trial." Like, what are you going to trial for? Like,
Oh,
you keep doing
money,
the same thing over and over. It's not like
money.
you're coming with nothing new. You're coming with the same foolish paper, pushing from stupidness over and over. Oh, her friend did this. Her friend did. Her family did that. This person did. And you don't have no proof. That's why I told my friend. I said, she write anything in this order with you, you sue them. Sue them sue her law firm for every single thing that she got.
That's terrible. The first thing the lawyer should do is try mediation.
She didn't want to mediate. It's
She's a
yes,
personality disorder, big time.
But they all have their
Oh,
thing because she feel like she needs to get back to me because even when I think was last year, I try hiring an attorney for my case, and when I had contacted that attorney, she listened and everything. And then suddenly she came back to me and told me that she can't take my case because the court had a problem with me doing the podcast. Not that I have mental health issues, not that I had a drug issues or anything like that. They were concerned about the podcast because she did say that. Laura Brooks said that. And then even with the mental health evaluation that I did in New York, she stated that the court stated, she didn't say who, she said the court stated that the mental health evaluation looked like an intake form from some kind of over-the-counter hospital or some foolishness. Yeah. And Laura Brooks was in contact with an attorney that I tried to hire. They were having discussions. She mentioned it. She bragged and boasted. That's why I know a lot of things because Laura Brooks felt very comfortable with Judge Natalie Ashkin. She was bragging and boasting about even people she wanted to have testify about these police officers from Newcastle County that was writing the subpoenas and all of that stuff. That's why I know a lot of things because she brags and she don't. But yeah, and family court just put people in not only in depression, financially, emotionally, because now I'm subject to supervised visitation for over a year, probably going on to 2 years now, right? You have to
mm-hmm,
pay, and then they expect you to pay child support and all the other foolishness that they're doing.
mm-hmm.
I'm telling you. But I just want to talk about this counselor because
Yep.
this is one of the biggest thing. Here we go again with the court orders not being followed. Who's going to be accountable for this counselor not doing whatever she needs to do? Because Swiyah Whittinington, and I want to call her name Swiyah Whittinington, because as a counselor, and this is one of her things that she wrote in her biography, that she helped her clients navigate anxiety and depression aftermath traumatic events. She provides psychotherapists dedicated to serving adults and children and family. And then, based on the information, and then another part she wrote, let me see, said that she's here to assist navigate the challenges that has brought them from childhood trauma and day-to-day living concerns. I work with clients seeking to improve their lives. As a therapist, I support each client on the journey to healing. I met each client where they are and support them in setting goals towards where they would like to be. The initial sessions begin with the assessment to identify where they are and their needs, to collaborate with information and our work together to develop goals to get the clients where they need to be. So that's what she writes in her bibliography. So I met Swiyah Whittinington, I think, last year. Because first, like I tell you, I know the connection with her and Laura Brooks and all of them. I and it's not like I definitely refuse to have counsel with her. The court order stated that the counseling session was supposed to be with her, my daughter, and I. And
Mm-hmm.
then suddenly, without anybody notifying me of any changes, they stated that the session's supposed to just be with me and her. And I was like, that's not what the court order stated. So, but because I speak up what the court order stated, they want to penalize me and say that I was refusing to have counseling sessions with her. I was just going by what the court order stated. So naturally, Ashkin said, "But whatever the council say, that's what I have to do." But that's not what you wrote in your court order, though.
Right, because if you don't follow a court order, then they're going to come after you. It's all a
Yeah, that's not what you
trap.
wrote in the that's not what you wrote in the court order. You said it's
Right.
counseling because you stated that I don't have no bond with my child. My child was with me from 2 months to 3 years or whenever. I think her dad got her when she was about 4. So all that time before him getting her, and most of the part of it when he was not in our life at all. Remember, one point he asked for 1 hour,
Mm.
which was never given back to me in child support. None of that stuff with that he's fighting me now for. That he think that I'm his personal ATM.
Yeah.
So all that time. So she was with me alone. So why weren't I able to know how to bond with my child? All our doctor's appointment, I went by myself with her. All of our doctor pre appointments. I was the only one going to all those appointments. I was the only one who paying and taking her to daycare. I was the only one who providing for her at that time.
Well, and you also said that this counselor only has 3 years experience.
Yes, they were Whittington from what I asked her, she just have 3 years experience. The first
Oh,
counselor that she had with my daughter had with Turning Corners, Christine Hines. She was a drug and alcohol counselor, no experience working with kids, period. Not even kids my child age. And she wrote to the court that my daughter had whatever she, all these diagnoses, but never worked with kids and was just simply a drug and alcohol counselor. And that's one of the things that I brought up in one of the mediation sessions that we had was attempting to have before Laura Brooks opened her mouth and say, she want to go to trial. She want to go to trial. Everything she want to go to trial. Yeah. Don't want to work anything. She was a very big problem
mhm.
in this whole process. And people don't think about the trauma they cause family, and which I would like to address talk a little bit because a lot of people are going through trauma just like me, and I know they didn't overcome it. I mean, yes, I have my moments with stuff, but
Mm.
I learned to handle stuff differently. But yes, this counselor was never worked with kids, drug and alcohol. And when I brought that up in the mediation, she was like, "You don't have no right to talk about nobody qualification and their background. Why?" But the attorney that I had at the time at the mediation did not press the ACU either. But she should have.
She
She
should
should
have.
have, you know.
She
But
blew it.
yeah, she didn't say anything. A lot of the attorneys that I'm telling you, when people hire, there's another thing. When parents are hiring attorney, you have to really do your background check on attorneys. And that was my thing. Because to be honest, I didn't even know where the family court was. I didn't even know a lot about these attorneys. So I was feeling people out as I go. A lot of the attorneys. Now I learned being in this process so long. I learned, take your time, research these attorneys, see who they're supporting, see who charity they're supporting, see who they're connected with. Just listen, read reviews people write about them. I know people write some foolishness about some of these attorneys that don't even make no sense, but read reviews and make assessment, make a judgment for yourself. Ask for recommendations from the attorneys, and even with attorneys, like what you hiring them for, make sure that they have um, most of their practices is in that area. Because I had hired an attorney that stated that she's family court, she does family court, child support, custody, and when reaching court, she had no experience, absolutely none, with child support, not a
Mm.
zero experience. But I already pay her 3,500 for that case. So all that money went down the drain.
Right. And I'm glad you brought up about parents investigating, their judges, their attorneys. There's a website that I came across, which was transparencyusa.org. So it's transparencyusa.org. And you can get onto your state and you can type in your attorneys and see how much money they've donated to the judge campaigns.
Yes.
So do it. Check it
Yes.
out.
You have to take your time and
Yes.
research these attorneys. And in Delaware, it's so small. A lot of them are in the same pool. They hang out together and all of that stuff. But it's good that you hang out and everything together. But when you're taking people money and you're fighting for people family, you have to take that business seriously, because it's not the person's name, but it's your name. Because here we are. That's why we have all these podcasts that we talking about all the bad behaviors that they exhibiting as attorney. You're taking people money and not properly representing them, or not properly speaking up on their behalf and the children. And then and not taking lightly the trauma that and pain that people go through. And look, for the last from January of this year to now, so many parents was unalive. If they're unalive themselves, or whatever the issues were in the situation. And look how many kids lost their life for just this year. And we just July is not even quite over, and so many kids have lost their life senselessly in with this custody situation. Parents, so a lot of parents
Yes.
lost
Yes.
their life. And my heart really go out to Lizzie, because I was just watching our podcast the day when before I heard her pass, and I was like, I was in so much of shock. My stomach was hurting. I was like, I could not believe. But whatever she was fighting for would not go unheard, unnoticed. And these are the things that people take for granted. The judges, the lawyers, and even family members, the secret battles that parents fight. Even though she was an advocate, and I can simply say this, even though we advocate and we speak out on these issues that we are being faced with in family court, we have silent battles like birthdays, holidays, the moments that people don't see when we go behind closed doors and we cry when it's our children birthdays. School time, you used to go in and buy stuff for your kids for school, getting them ready for school. That time, like, you crying inside. Like, literally, there's times that I feel like my inside of my tears just fall inside of me, you know. Like streets that I go down, like events venues that I go to. I remember, oh, me and my daughter used to do this. Now it's summer, we used to do mommy daughter picnics. We used to go to the spa or whatever, do little things together. And these are things that parents fight silently inside. So I know Lizzie had her silent moments. I know. As much as she was a voice of power out there, we as parents going through this, we have silent tears that people take for granted, that they don't check up, like on a kid's birthday. Hi, Lizzie, how you doing? Hi, Marineka, how you doing? These are the times, like, that we cry silently, and nobody know when we crying. Nobody knows the pain that we feeling. Nobody. I tell you that I feel so much pain that I never talk about. And as women, as mothers, especially mothers, because we have the capacity to carry kids, we hold a lot of pain, trauma in our cervix
Right.
area.
Well, even we carry their DNA.
Exactly. So
Even still, after you give birth to a baby, you still have their DNA in your body. It's kind of weird.
yes, a lot of pain for me. And I want to speak for me, and I'm pretty sure probably other parents could relate. Had a lot of pain in my hips, like pain. And I met a Reiki healer. I started researching Reiki, and that woman, she was amazing. She helped me a lot with that pain that I was carrying in my hips. She said, all the emotions, you carrying it in your hips. There's times that when my child was ripped from me, it's like I was going through childbirth over again. When that child was ripped from me, there's times that I feel like I wanted to push, literally want to open my legs and push. My child is already 3 years, and when they took her from me, it's like you took something out of me that refused to come out. And because that separation was, my body was going through all of this motion. And then even with being lactating, I stopped lactating immediately with all the stress. No matter what I drink to build up back that milk in my breast, it was dry, completely dry.
Oh.
So trauma takes a toll on you that people don't talk about. And I want to talk about a little bit about this. It's so a lot of pain that people don't talk about, that it's inside. We advocate, we speak about what the court is doing and all of this stuff, but we don't talk about the pain that we feel in our body. I
Mm-hmm.
can tell in my stomach as a mother, I can tell every time my child was sick, even though she was not near to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Mm-hmm.
tell my child was sick from my stomach. My stomach told me, Marianne.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it in my stomach. Every single time my child was missing on me, like I could feel my breasts tightening
Mm-hmm.
up and just like somebody's pulling every muscle inside my breast. I felt that.
Mm.
I know the guys can't talk that because they didn't experience that as carrying a child. I'm not differentiating a father's pain from a mother's pain. Pain is pain.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing that we feel that a lot of us don't talk about is grieving a child that is alive.
Exactly.
We go through the same process. And I know it takes some to get faster. And it's because of my faith, because of people praying around me and all of that stuff, make I am here today.
Yeah.
People never gave up on praying for me. I never gave up, even though that I find there's times like, I want to give up. But every time I watch at my daughter, I could never, I can't give up. I
Right.
can't give up because that's what they want me to do, give up. And I'm not going to give up. And I told Swiyah Whittinington that too. And as a counselor, you say you're counseling and all this stuff that you're trying to help people with trauma, but yet still, you're not being a solution. You're not being a part of a solution, but she is a big part of the problem right now
Right. Of a huge problem.
because you leave from one agency, did not complete what you stated to the court that you was going to do, and you run and go to another agency and thinking that this is going to go away. It's not going nowhere, Swiyah Whittinington. It's not going anywhere. Because before we get to this point, she stated that, yes, I didn't know how to bond with my child. And my child is afraid of me and she don't want to meet me and all of this stuff. And my child will only go out with me if she's going out. If she's the only one is going out with us, she never bring a proposal to me. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But before all of this custody stuff, Swiyah Whittinington never met me. So whatever she was going off is what she was told about me, not what she know about me, not her experience or interaction with me. So she told the court that, okay, we have to do this counseling with my daughter. And when my daughter feels comfortable, she's going to do it. We were doing that from since before January, since
Mm-hmm.
last year. And then she canceled some of the subject, some of the sessions. Yes, I maybe one or two sessions I canceled because, emergency came up with my car and other stuff. But other session, she canceled more than anything. She always sick. She's canceling. And next thing you know, that she moved on. I never know what she wrote about it in the report. What was her assessment with the few sessions that she had with me before moving on. And she didn't even tell me that she was moving on. And then you just move on. And then now they have a court order that passed April 25th of this year, 2025, that stated that that we're supposed to continue this counseling once a month. What once a month is going to do? How are you going to build a bond? Like I said, the best interest of the child is to make sure the court make sure that parents maintain that bond with the child. And in the best, they said they uh, rule in the best interest of my child. I have no connection with her education, medical, no the counseling once a month, no phone calls, absolutely no phone calls.
Right. No contact.
No contact once every Sunday for an hour at the visitation center. So what bond are you building with my child? You
They're
think
trying.
about the
They're trying to
pain and the
destroy
trauma,
it.
right? You
Mm-hmm.
destroy my bond. So, but they did wrote in the court order, that I failed to realize that my child is getting older and she could make her own decision at 7. Okay, when you destroy it, When you destroy that bond, you're destroying that bond. That's why every single time I tell my child I love her, how much I love her, I make sure that I tell her no matter what, I love you, mommy, love you, because I know she knows a lot. She knows a
Mhm.
lot more than people fail to realize. Children know a lot more than what we anticipated that they know.
Right, right. Because I know my kids knew my case better than I did.
My daughter too,
Oh.
because even though with when they had the interview with her, my daughter role play and tell me everything, every single thing that went on in that interview. And I know she was coached. They told
Mhm.
her that she's scared of me. You know, that's what Swiyah Whittinington keeps saying for months. My daughter's scared of me, scared of me, scared of me. But scared of me of what? You're not sensible enough to know that she's being coached. You're not smart enough to know that she's being coached. And then as a counselor, parental alienation, like how much do you know about parental alienation?
Right,
The
right.
trauma, the pain, and the hurt that it caused, that we had to suffer through. You know how defeating it is that I had to drop my daughter off sometimes when we start doing the exchange whenever you feel like coming, right? When we start doing the exchange for him to, when he came back, he just want her on the weekends and all of that. And then suddenly you want her because I'm abusing her. But all the abuse, the marks and the bumps and everything, DFS ignore. Because
Hmm.
Natalie Ashkins and everybody, all of them in the same circle.
Right. I mean, even the counselor I had,
Yeah.
she just had a degree, well, a PhD in just child SA abuse. She didn't know about the child psychological abuse. And she was a nightmare. And I was already told by my attorney that she is a problem to the family law community. So right then and there, I knew this was going to be bad. And then she lied and said that my attorney threatened her if she were to go on the stand, which was not true. But I mean, this is how bad they are. These are the counselors that are destroying our children.
Yes, yes. And Wednesday, we're waiting until the last when in April when we had the February when we had court, she showed up with her own attorney, right? To make sure that she don't say what she's not supposed. But you're not gonna say what you're not supposed to say. But are you doing what you're supposed to do? Because as in your biography that you're supposed your goal is to help people navigate and to heal and to bring together. So if you feel that I had an issue and I didn't know how to bond with my child and all of these issues that you think that I had or have, wasn't that something that you would have helped navigate with the sessions that we had together so we can bring the relationship together? Did she do that? Did you feel that she accomplished that goal? I don't think she did, because now from
Mm-mm.
April to now, since this court order, she haven't had one session with me. I tried meeting her on May 17, and the email came back as mail dominion. And then when I realized that was from her old email from Turning Corners. She now moved to a new agency, which I don't have the name, the information. I have an email for her. I emailed her on May 30th, and I'm yet to hear a response back from her. But that was typical of her anyway, right? Because when
Hmm.
the first court order passed with the counseling, that my daughter had to get counseling, the father went ahead of me, get Swiyah Whittinington, and Swiyah Whittinington had already did 9 or 10 or 12 sessions with my daughter, and she said the sessions was done. She no longer see my daughter, and then when I bring that up in court, oh, um she never stopped. And there was no reassessment from the counselor that I had. She said every time you take a break more than a month or two, you always have to start a new assessment. You have to do a fresh intake every single
Hmm.
time you take a break. You can't just say take a break for 3 4 months and that's it. Oh, I'm coming back. You have to start all over again. So she was just picking up from where she left off or wherever. So now you're counseling my daughter, counseling her on what? What is affecting her childhood? It's not like I don't want to be in her life. A mother that wants to be in her life, that you helping keep away from her, but you counseling her about trauma, that her mom is not there, a mom who is alive, a mom who is well, who don't have a criminal history, not a criminal record in my background that they're trying to give me now with this child support. Mm?
Hmm.
I want to be there loving. Even with the sessions, I said, you never came to even the visitation center. You never come to the visitation center. Like, how are you getting notes? Like, how are you going to able to better assist and see? Or she get the notes from my daughter. Like, how could like she go off of what my daughter tell her? You lie. You talk to those people at the center and they write what they're writing.
Mm-hmm.
They write
What
what they want to write, and they were being paid to whatever they were doing to at the visitation center.
then they are committing child psychological abuse.
There's nothing that I have done at that center with my daughter. From tea parties, I would take some of her toys. We would play tea party. We would do
Mm-hmm.
coloring. We do all sort of activities. But you say she's scared of me, and none of our sessions were collaborated. And I was like, how come none of the sessions that we have, why don't the father drop her off to your office the times and we could have collaborative sessions then? Why that never happened? Never happened. But
This happens. I'm
you
so
keep
glad you said this because
right.
this is what happens is they exclude the other parent and they do this all the time.
Right. So now you're saying we all of this into how many months and you haven't had one session with my daughter. One session. But I don't know why she think this is going to go away because she went to a different agency.
Hmm.
So you cause them more trauma and you participating in parental alienation and not thinking about the trauma, the hurt, the pain. My daughter hold me this weekend. She just like was sitting back in my on my lap and we were watching a movie. And she started taking her hands and she started feeling my body.
Mm-hmm.
She started feeling my hands and feeling my joints and everything. And then next thing she do like this.
Oh.
And then I could feel that she relaxed and like 2 minutes, like she was ready to like fall out of sleep.
Oh.
You causing so much pain. Even I could remember, even when my daughter started even going to visit the father, she didn't know him. She would run and scream, run and scream. My daughter would come back with lumps in her head, bumps.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter who I reach out to, was no help. So I had turned to Nia Morris, where her pediatrician was, and they had sent me to the psychologist department, and they were doing PTSD, something named child's play, like a child's play therapy, where they were helping my daughter with the exchange and stuff like that. But it's not only the problem with the exchange. My daughter was abused at her father's house, and she didn't know them. She wasn't treated right. So it didn't make it easy. But the therapist at the psychologist at Near Morris, he was very helpful. He was very helpful. Like he did with different role play with toys. He had us do like role playing with toys and like different things and stuff like that. So that kind of calm her down, like when it's time for the exchange a little bit, working on it.
Mm.
Laura Brooks is attorney Laura Brooks said, oh, you're gonna move her from there because you know why they want to move her from near Morris Hospital, the psychologist department, because it's not nobody who she can manipulate like what they have Swiyah Whittinington and the other counselors doing. But that guy was really helping my daughter a lot and helping her to talk or to point and show things because she took a long time before she talked. I think my daughter started talking when she was like 2.5, went on to 3. So a lot of things she used to point and she wasn't clear about stuff.
Oh.
So I just mommy instinct and her behavior.
And for a kid to even, I mean, I'm glad you had a counselor that knew what he was doing and helped with that. But I mean, these kids don't need to go through this trauma.
Exactly, unnecessarily. And like I said, the father and I, even though we had our differences and all of that stuff, I wasn't have a problem with him sharing custody or sharing time with him. But all I said to him, with all this screaming and running, give her time. That's all I asked him. I said, give her time to know you. You left when you was 2 months and you want to come back. Oh, I'm daddy, I'm father. Because you have people supporting you, people in the political arena and all of these connections that you use to get the child, and all the abuse and all the marks that they cover, even with DFS, and you want to make me look crazy. All I said to him, I said, give her time. And you asked the judge for 1 hour and you were off, and he was off from work 4 days a week. and ask for 1 hour. I said, give this child time to know you.
Mm-hmm,
Give her time.
mm-hmm.
That's all I asked him. Give her time to know you. Extend your 1 hour. Instead of coming for 1 hour, come maybe for two, increase it to two, whatever it is.
Mm-mm.
But no, you came to my house because the drop off kind of started at my house. And I was like, no, you lying too much. All the stuff that you dragging my family through, we're gonna do the exchange at the precinct. And even then, you had the police officers coming to my house. You remember all the gang stalking and all of that stuff because I started speaking up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But people didn't think that so many things could have gone wrong when they come to my house. These people did it for this gang stalking went on for months. It went on for maybe a year or two, maybe 2 or going on to 3 years. Those people came to my house. Police officers come to my house to harass me. And when I talk about some of these things with Swiyah Whittinington, she used it against me and said that I was talking negatively about the father, about what was going on. Like you wanted me to say something is blue when it was actually pink.
Right, right.
You know what it is to be having to look back every time you walk, you go out, people block here, driving, people coming in. They even had keys to my house at one point.
Mm.
Because when the father moved, the police officer never gave me back my keys. He told me he was going to give me back my keys.
Mm.
So all the pain and trauma that I went through, the horror, and that could have gone so many different ways. But I'm telling you, at that time was for my child. But let her try that stupidness now.
What a horrible, evil attorney
Let
that
her try that foolishness now. Let
she's
us
a,
say they come in here now.
yeah. She can't be child psychologically abusing your child.
My child run like for a whole year from the father, screaming at Newcastle County. I'm pretty sure if they go back and look at those videos, screaming, running from him. Mommy, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared.
Mm.
Baby boy is scared of the cat, the dog, you know. My daughter even had nightmares, people pulling her pants down and all of that stuff. Everything that I talk about, now you flip it back. You want to play reverse psychology. That's what happened at my house.
Mm.
But nobody never think. And I had like over 13 or 14 different DFS investigation. My daughter had all type of welts on her foot and her bruises and cigarette burns, and they never went back. They cleared me from all those investigation. Actually, they did start one that when they said that I'm gonna unalive my daughter, I think was when it was March, we did talk about it. You know, until
Mhm.
now I haven't received a letter from DFS saying that case is closed. They never sent me a letter. So that case is still open in my name.
Or, I mean, did they just threaten that and then didn't do any paperwork on it? Could that have
I
happened?
have no idea. I have no idea. But I did talk to one of the DFS worker. Her name is I think her last name is some Grimes. I don't remember her first name, but the last name is Grimes. But I never received a letter that that case is closed.
Maybe there is, I would call back and see if there is actually a case. You know, because sometimes they threaten these things and then there's still no
No, she did.
case.
I did went to the DFS office. She did call me into the DFS office. She did spoke with me. She did had an interview with me and everything. Yep. But I never received a letter that it was closed. And this went on for a long time. So all of these different investigations that they had me under for abuse and all of that stuff, but nobody never went back and asked how this child get a cigarette burn, how she got this cut, how she got that. Never, never did. But these are things like Swiyah Whittinington was asking me specific question in her sessions, but I know why she was asking them because just exactly what she wrote that I was talking negatively about the father. So how are you helping as a counselor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What
She's
what you know what part are you playing? Especially now you say you continue to counsel my daughter. Counselor about what? A mother that want to be there, but you are the problem as a counselor that
right.
is participating in parental alienation to keep my child away from me as a counselor that's supposed to be healing and helping.
Oh no, she's enabling the father. She's coddling him.
Like they all did in the past. Because even the person with the drug and alcohol, she had like 12 or 14 sessions with him. And every time when she's supposed to meet with me, she canceled. And this is from Turning Corners. She canceled.
So she was with Turning Corners,
Christine Hines, the first counselor
the first one.
with Christine Hines. But the guy from near Morris, he was different. So Christine Hines and Swiyah Whittinington, they're both from Turning Corners.
Okay, which kind of turns my stomach.
Yep. So, and all of this, you said you make so the court order with using the best interests of the child. No phone calls.
Mm-mm.
Even with my daughter report card, because I talk about the way she's performing in school. You block me from. I was blocked from not participating in anything with education. Her first two marking periods, she still was reading, writing, kind of add from 1 to 10. The teacher said between 1 to 10. She's about to be in second grade and having issues with adding numbers 1 to 10, reading below grade level.
Mm-hmm.
But yet still your court order is in the best interest of my child. And when her education is being neglected, now I see she's in her last marking period, she improved a little bit. So I asked the father for the report card. He took a while. He said that the district mail it to him, which I know was a lie, because the court order also said for him to for him to have the school some with a Adobe or whatever app they have, so that I can know when they have the conferences and stuff like that. He haven't done anything. So school closed, about to open, and I was never connected with any of the apps or anything from her school. So here we go again with another court order. You know how much money I already pay with rule of show cause, compelled to court. But every time you go to court, Judge Natalie Ashton don't want to address, oh, I'm not going to address this. And you want to make excuses and you want to cover up and you want to make it look like if I'm stupid and I don't know how I understand. But you write in the court order, but I don't know how to communicate. When all of this thing going on frivolously could have stopped.
Right. I think your judge is also violating your ADA rights.
Yes, because even when with I told you what she did with the ADA. I told you what they did with that. Because when Francesca was supposed to come to court, they were emailing Laura Brooks and Patricia Weir, the gal. They were passing the motions on the email. So they wouldn't have an actual court to physically go. So Francesca was never able to go because they're passing all these things online. And for the gal, Patricia Weir, like, what did you write in this court order that is going to be in the best interest of my child or education, connection? Like you quote the family court code 727, where the child's supposed to be bonding with the mom, with the education and all of that stuff. What happened to all of that? But the gal and her dad, they were communicating. They're supposed to be neutral, but they were very much in communicating with each other because of one of her even her motion that she wrote, that I bring her back to Natalie Ashton. Oh, you don't want to take responsibility. You don't want to take account. If I do something wrong, I take accountability. But you're not going to roll over me and keep messing with my child and think I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I studied these people yesterday, and I was like, I want to know what type of upbringing they had, what type of parenting they had. Their parents was like, you don't have no empathy, you don't have no humanity, you don't have no love for people. You're so cold-hearted, breaky heart, evil. What type of upbringing you had from your parents? I mean, we growing up and from where I'm from, we wasn't rich, but we had people have a house, but a lot of people don't have a home. People have a ring, a wedding, but they don't have a marriage. They don't have no love. They don't have no family. We know but love. Where I grow, we're rich in love. We're rich in our culture, love, togetherness. You don't have that. I'm not saying because I was in law enforcement, I know they do have some people with some demented and twisted mindset that they would hurt and do things to kids. I'm not saying for you not to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do your job, but do it the right way. God bless you with that position to be a judge, to make a positive impact on family, to make a change, even on your name, not to destroy, not to cause trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of silent pain people take, like I said, a silent pain people take for granted. That's why a lot of people commit suicide. They go, those silent moments, they go through all type of thoughts, go through their mind. They're missing the kids. You know what is heartbreak? Hmm? You go through a lot of heartbreak. If I'm telling life coaches and all of these things that I follow. Look, I'm following this girl named Tamika Speak. She's a good life coach on TikTok, and they have so many other things that parents have to get involved in these things, because if you're not mentally and psychologically ready for family court, you will commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Because this system break you emotionally, financially, take every single thing from you. My account is empty. The money that I had saved to the money that I have now. And I work hard. A lot of things that my friends went on cruise and all of that stuff, and I didn't do that stuff. I worked and I saved my money because I know I had a plan for my life, plan for my retirement. All of that stuff is destroyed completely because
Mm-hmm.
what?
Right.
I,
I
I,
mean,
I, I don't hate my daughter's father. I have pity for him. I have pity for him. And I'm glad that it took me a long time. This didn't happen overnight. And because I heard a parent on your podcast also was blaming herself. I went through all of that. I blame myself for a whole year. Like, what did I did wrong? Like, where did I go wrong? I was the fault. I was this. I made the wrong. I was this. You can't keep blaming yourself, because you would never able to finish this race. This family court is not for the weak.
mm-hmm.
It's not for the weak. You got to be mentally prepared for them.
Oh, yes. In fact, luckily, I was groomed for family court, being married for 10 years to someone who psychologically and emotionally abused me and other questionable things. But I was used to verbal abuse, so I could go in there and just bebop and handle his whatever you want to call it, opposing attorney, and have comebacks.
Yeah,
But a
yeah,
lot of people, if you're not used to that, you're not gonna be able
yeah,
to handle that.
yeah. I was humiliated. I was embarrassed,
Hmm.
right? But to a point, because you know what? I work in a prison for 7 years, and there's nothing that the inmates didn't tell you that nobody else could have told me that would have bothered me.
Hmm.
I hear it all from them. I was called every name under the sun.
Hmm.
And at that time, just let the dish it out, I dish it back and give it to them. But I changed a lot. I changed a lot. But you know what? A lot of them meet me on the street, and it's to my amazement, to my amusement, I would say. They apologize to me. Sorry to call you this.
Oh,
They all apologize. But you know what? They remember I made an impact on their life. Because you spoke to me, I get this job. They had a guy was running. I was like, why is he running? Coming to me, like, who is him? Was in a suit. I didn't recognize him. I was like, why is he like? I told him I was me and my daughter. I was like, back up for a second. This probably so. Let me see what's going on with this situation.
yeah.
And he said, I got a job. I got a job. I got a job.
Oh,
Thank you so much because you spoke to me. I spoke life into those inmates. I never treat them as inmates. I look them as human beings. Yes, I cuss them and whatever when they act out of order. You have to let them know what time it is. But you know what?
mhm.
I could say confidently, I breathe life into those people,
Right.
men and women. Enough, plenty of them today. Thank you for talking to me. I start my own business. I start working at this place. I start doing this. I went back to school. I do this and I do this. And that's how I feel happy. So
Hmm.
for you as a judge, that's the impact you want to make on people. Watch Christmas. I did Christmas drive for kids because I'm missing my daughter. And that emptiness of not able to do in Christmas and all of that stuff, I pour it into other people's kids. And the smile those kids have, oh my God, was unbelievable.
Mm.
And just to fill that void of my child not being here, that's what I did for a while, like pouring into other people's kids and to school stuff and into schools, into my back into my country, like schools that people who can afford it to have Christmas with the kids. I pour back into those kids just to fill that void, just to fill to alleviate that pain. So as a counselor, and you said you have if you have experience, you would know what I'm talking, because you know. And now you just staying like a stumbling block to stop my child from thing. I should not have to be chasing you. My email is still the same. So she can't say that she emailed me and I never reached out back and I didn't answer. She never emailed me. She never updated me with her new information. Nothing. But you are the Swiyah Whittinington was the one who said, oh, the child need counseling and all of this stuff, and the court write once a month. What once a month is gonna do? But Natalie Ashkins thinks she's spiting me. You're not spiting me. You're not spiting me. The only pain that I feel defeated to see the pain my child is going through and the hurt and the trauma, and I know the damage that you're doing to my child. Because I was trained as a police officer to be numb to some of these things y'all doing to me. I was trained as a correction officer to be numb, because that's the training they give you, to be numb to stuff. And in order for me to able to withstand this, I had to go back into that mindset of those trainings. And a lot of things, when God have a funny way of talking to people. I am telling you, I saw my supervisor so many times in my dream, a specific supervisor that I had a lot of respect for. Talk to me a lot. God use him. And people who have that level of understanding spiritually will understand what I'm saying. God know why that man talked to me. People play too much with people's kids and their life. And he was coming to my home, in my space. But I'm glad, I am happy that where I am today, in a different space. And like, I just want to tell a lot of the parents, because I see some of the parents deteriorating on your program, that they need to take care of themselves. Find things to take care of yourself. Find things that you love. Because if you don't find things on different avenue and outlets, this court system would unalive you before you even see the results of what you're fighting for. I tried Reiki. I didn't know about Reiki, and I did research, and I liked it. And I was lucky and blessed to connect with somebody, because when you're doing certain stuff, you have to connect with the right person. And the counselor that I have, she is amazing. She is an amazing woman. When I said she's experienced, because my counselor that I had, she had over 30 years of counseling experience, and with investigation, she have a wealth of knowledge of this, dealing with this situation, with parents in this situation. So if they're in New York, I would definitely give you their information. You connect with her. She's an amazing counselor, and I would recommend her to anybody.
Oh, that's good.
Shari Downing from New York, she is an amazing counselor, amazing. And she have over 30 years of experience. She have a wealth of knowledge of parental alienation and court system and every single thing inside out. She was a DFS investigator and all of that stuff. She knows inside out trauma. She's a trauma therapist and all of that stuff, because she did trauma therapy for ACS and all of that stuff. So she's deep into the system. And that's when you get in a counselor, you need to have somebody with experience. This counselor, right? You understand how to deal with stuff. It's very important, very important. And most of all, I know a lot of people don't have it, like family support. I am so grateful for my family. I am so grateful for my family. And Marianne, for you and everybody, I am so grateful. And this do not only some of the counselors, like Like Swiyah Whittinington, I don't think she understands. These things don't affect the children. It affects your family. It affects your family. Because I see my mom went through it.
Mm.
My aunts went through it. My brothers, silently.
Mm-hmm.
My nieces and nephews, silently. This affects a whole family, an entire family. My family, all the left with is memories of thing. My daughter is she's a very hilarious kid, funny. And all they keep repeating, especially my aunt. My aunt raised me. My aunt raised me from 6 months. My mother, older sister, my aunt just celebrated her 80th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And she has been battling cancer for years. And I think it was 3 years back, she was like, I am tired.
Mm-hmm.
I am tired. I'm ready to go home and just relax. I'm in so much pain. She said, but I
Mm-hmm.
do not want to go until I see your daughter back home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, Marianne, my body froze when she said that. Like every single thing in me stopped because I was not expecting that to come out of her mouth. I froze. And this is one thing that I shared with Swiyah Whittinington. And I said, my aunt is very sick and she wants to see my daughter. And she said, that's not something somebody should tell somebody. I said, you don't tell people how to feel.
Yeah.
My aunt is my mother. It's like my mom. She raised me from 6 months. She is my mother. That's her granddaughter too, even though she's my aunt. You understand the bond that my aunt shared with me with my daughter, and you saying that she should not say that. So all of this, you have so people go through weddings, death, and kids missed out.
Mm-hmm.
For 3 years, you keep my child away from me. She missing out on having time with her grandmom. My mom have my daughter, one of her dolls that my daughter leave with her before she left, and she mimic like if my daughter is there. Why you have to? You know what the abuse and the trauma that you causing to my mom as a grandmom. Mm?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that can put them into early graves as well.
So all of this pain that people don't talk about, right? Like my aunt now, the one that is sick, like she would never end a phone call with somebody without talking about my daughter or saying something funny when my daughter say, and she would repeat it like over and over and over and over and over. Like sometimes I don't, sometimes, like I avoid the conversation because there's times that I want to talk. I would love her to talk, and sometimes I don't want to talk, especially like if I just having one of those silent moments where I'm crying inside, missing her on her
Mhm.
birthdays, on Christmas. My aunt have Christmas gift from 4 years ago that she still have for my daughter. She have like a whole pack of stuff that just have there. And I'm praying right now. Like I prayed, like I start praying. I said, Father God, please do not take her home until she see my daughter. Let her in her lifetime she see that justice
You know,
is served, that my child come home.
even, this counselor of only 3 years of experience should have enough empathy to say, hey, why don't you bring your aunt in and the daughter and they can visit for an hour, whatever. Give them
But
time to get it.
she wrote in the court order that my daughter would go out with me only she's going. So that's something that she could have set up if she had told me. That's something my family would gladly set up. Because coming to the visitation center, they're gonna have to pay what, $50, $60 to come, and then they can't come on days when I go, and they don't drive, and they're all the way in New York. So it's hard for my family to connect with my child. And then the father said he don't trust my family.
Uh, Typical. They all say
And then
that.
the thing is, with Judge Natalie Ashkins, a lot of the decision that she made, like to connect to do reunification with my daughter, she asked Tia Tucker, the supervisor, you think she should connect with the daughter? You as a judge, you make the decision. Now you're asking the father, you're asking everybody. So if you have to ask people before you make a decision, why even being a judge? And as like
Right.
I said, she should have recused herself from this case because of the connection with Sherry Dorsey and all the other people my ex-husband is connected with, that is connected to her. She should have recused herself from this case anyway. And even with the pictures that with the abuse and with the marks and all of that she ignored, She should have recused herself anyway from this case. These judges have no accountability. None.
No.
The amount of letters that I wrote, people that I reach out to, and because I talk, even with the child support, all the motions that they deny, and a lot of things didn't get addressed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We didn't address. But it's a lot of pain these counselors don't, especially the young counselors, they don't understand.
Right. And they shouldn't even be working for the court system. They should be getting experience and before they even enter that arena.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we can wrap up.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we talked about this because people need to know about these counselors that totally interfere in parents and children's lives.
And the pain.
And yeah, and they are child psychological abusers along with the judge. Yes, you, Natalie Haskins, and you, Laura Brooks, you are participating in child psychological abuse and destroying a
I'm
childhood.
Patricia Weir too. Don't let her think that she's gonna escape because she's the gal. She was the gal in this case. All
Right?
of them. You do right by people, kids. You do right by children. You do right by your farm. That's where you get your money from. That's your name. That's what you work hard for. And
Ah,
you work hard for to achieve something like a law firm. You protect that name with integrity, honesty.
mm-hmm,
You treat
mm-hmm.
people with kindness, empathy, because that's your name. That's not Natalie Ashkin's name on the law firm you're working with. That's not Laura Brooks' name on the law firm you're working with. Even to say Whittington, that's not, none of those people name are on those certificates and degrees that you have for the nights that you put in hard work for. Not even my ex-husband. I
Mm-hmm.
never jeopardized my job for nobody. That's why I guess they couldn't stand me when it comes to certain things because I did not play with people. Don't
Right.
jeopardize my job. Don't compromise me. Don't put me in no compromising position to compromise myself or my job and my integrity. It's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna happen.
Well, what I can say, and I hope they are listening, is
They
that
always listen. They always
good.
listen.
Oh, I'm
They
glad.
always do.
I hope they like and subscribe.
They always do. Trust me,
Um,
they do. Because a lot
but
of the changes they did, because the last attorney told me that the court had a problem with the podcasters. Yeah.
oh well.
Not based on because I had a mental health issue like they were claiming that I was crazy and all the other stuff that they were saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
forgetting what they were doing to make me crazy, coming to my house and all the other stuff that they did, having all this circle of people that they're working together with to
Right.
keep my child away from me.
Well, God is watching, and Matthew 18:6 is, but whoso shall cause one of these little ones who believe in me to fall, it were better for him that a millstone were hung around his neck and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. God is watching these people, and
Exactly.
God's going to deal with them. But I'm
Exactly.
glad you came on. Don't jump off, okay?
Okay.
If people want to reach Marineka, they can come through me at dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. And don't jump off. Slam the Gavel is a podcast. Help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube. Please like and subscribe and get your friends to do so as well. Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms. Again, feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. Thank you, Marineka Bowman, for keeping us updated on your case. I'm still going to follow your case closely because this is very important for all parents because what's happening to Marineka is happening to a lot of other parents. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.